This is Virginia Swain. Imagine Worcester and the World. A story, a show about peace. I interview people who work for peace in the world and in Worcester. And today I have a woman, Zayda Vallejo, who is from Colombia, South America, but who lives in Worcester and has for 20 years, right?
10 years.
10 years, sorry.
Yes.
But Zayda is a woman of peace. She brings peace to everything she does because she has a big heart and she brings her heart to whatever she does. And she's a teacher of the heart, wouldn't you say, Zayda?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, and you have had an incredible training in the head too, because you've almost reached your PhD in political science from Oxford University. You're an incredibly brilliant woman. You have found mindfulness, and you help people to come to peace. So how did this all start to happen for you?
Virginia, I started to meditate in 1978, and I found in also some yoga, I found that even though I meditated, I had a very solid practice in my daily life, I wasn't peaceful. I experienced quite a bit of anxiety. I have the tendency to be a workaholic. So I would find myself immersed in many, many different projects and found hard to find peacefulness in my daily life. And I could not meditate 24 hours a day. Right. I could not sit in meditation for 24 hours a day. So I came to Worcester to train for eight weeks because I had heard that this program, the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, was helpful to bring peacefulness into daily life. And I was, after 2-3 weeks here, doing the classes, learning, I found, this program is amazing. It really, I found it so helpful that I decided that I would teach what I needed to learn. And this is what I'm doing.
At the center, right?
At the center, in many different places. I teach the Center for Mindfulness is part of the University of Massachusetts Medical School. So I teach here, I teach at Mass General, sometimes in schools, sometimes in many, many different forums. And I just enjoy it so much. I find that we are our worst enemies, that our worst enemy could not treat us as unkindly as we treat ourselves normally. We criticize ourselves so harshly. We do something wrong and we beat ourselves up. And only when we become aware of what we're doing, we can choose to do something different. We can choose to bring peacefulness in our minds, in our hearts.
That is so important, isn't it, that awareness? So you teach them to become aware, don't you? And then gives them tools to practice mindfulness in their daily life.
Exactly.
It's almost like
to
a
become aware. Yes.
Become aware.
That is at the center of the work, of this work, awareness. And it's not about pushing away our difficulties, our pain. It's about seeing it clearly. It's about moving towards the pain instead of away. Our normal reaction is to move away from pain, away from discomfort. And awareness, by being aware of what is happening, to be aware, we need to move into, to see clearly, right? To see as clearly as possible what is happening. I have a contraction, I'm feeling so out of center, I'm feeling horrible at this moment. Wow.
Just the awareness. Most people don't.
Exactly. So to become curious. Wow. What is it that I'm feeling right now? To stop for a moment and to begin to observe, how is my body feeling right now that I feel so horrendous? How is my body feeling right now? And normally we notice that the body contracts. We get contracted. So we can just breathe and, just soften.
Yes.
What is it that I'm saying to myself right now?
Yes.
What are my thoughts at this moment that I feel so bad? And what am I doing here? All sorts of things that are really thoughts that are harsh normally. So by being attentive to what am I saying, with curiosity, not changing the thoughts, just interesting. Look at this mind. Okay, what is it? What are the thoughts right now? Just observing with curiosity, and then the emotions also. What is it that I'm feeling now? With the intention to hold gently, like a mother holds a baby, with that gentleness. Any feelings, maybe if I'm feeling angry or anxious, fear, can I hold that softly? Can I let it be and hold it softly? Can I make room for this? Instead of, I don't want to feel this way. Oh, I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel anxious. I don't want to feel fear. The opposite. Come, fear, come. Let me hold you. Let me see you.
Wow. Do you find people have a hard time making that adjustment to hating themselves for these feelings, to loving them?
Well, it is a process. It is a practice. But the intention, the part of intention, is very, very, is so important. And it is so helpful in this process. Because if the intention is to be kind and gentle with ourselves first, so we can extend it to other people.
Yes, that's
right?
a huge gift.
Because if we are not gentle with ourselves, if we don't have peace of mind, we cannot extend that to others. I cannot give you this pencil if I don't have it.
Yes.
It's not possible. So only if I have it, I can give it to you. So the same thing with this internal work. By being kind and gentle, compassionate with ourselves, we can extend it to other people. And this is the work. So it is difficult at times, of course, because we're in the habit of treating ourselves very, very harshly, normally, to criticize. We want to be perfect, and if we do something wrong, we can be very unkind. So it is a practice, and if we don't do it right, we have the rest of our life to practice. We have the whole life to practice.
So for people who are kind of instant replay people, they want things done immediately. It doesn't work that way, does it?
Well, it does. It does, because from the very beginning, this is something that is inside of all of us: compassion, kindness, joy, beauty, forgiveness, peacefulness. All of those qualities are innate. They're always present in every person. We just need to connect. So whenever we hear that we are being unkind, that we are being difficult, we know it. We know it because this is what we have been doing. This is what we have been seeing. Yeah. But we also know that the joy is there, that the compassion, the kindness is always there. So all that we need to do is to connect with what is already there. It's not to bring anything from the outside. It is already present.
So would you say this is a combination of your Christian roots as well as your interest in Buddhism?
Absolutely, Virginia. It is a combination of my Christian heritage, which I value immensely. It's a precious jewel for me. And also the interest that I have had in Buddhism for many, many years.
That interest has taken you to many places in Asia, and I know you went to Nepal originally because of your studies in political science and your interest in and the role of the state in promoting exports. So you have a whole other side of you that you've developed as well. So when you went to Nepal to look at that, the role of the state in promoting exports, you found meditation, and you were kind of adopted by a Sufi master. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, I was already interested in meditation. I had been practicing meditation, but being there was an opportunity to deepen that precious part, that something that I value already. And there was a Sufi master, a very, very old master, that used to open the doors of his house from 6 to 10 in the morning. And it was a procession of people. Politicians would stop, children going to school, housewives going to the market. And I just was there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And at the beginning, people would say, what is this foreigner doing here? They would look at me strange. And then I became part of the furniture. And and then the family adopted me. And it was just a very, very precious gift. And I also had 2 Tibetan Rinpoches, 2 Tibetan masters, and that were friends that I had met in India in '89. And I also attended some of their lectures and became very, very also part of their family. So I had the Buddhist world and the Sufi world, and it's all the same. And my Christian roots that are precious to me.
Yeah, Sufis are Muslims, right?
Sufi, yes,
So,
but it is a science of the heart.
Yes,
It's part of the Muslim religion that emphasizes the heart connection.
I'm struck by your original description of what people can do for themselves when they're kind and generous with themselves as observers rather than critics. Do you consider yourself a teacher of the heart?
I like to be. I like to be. That is, the heart and the mind. We cannot disregard the mind.
Yeah,
so
you've developed it well.
To have an intelligent heart.
Intelligent heart.
And a kind, warm mind.
I love that. What was the second one?
A kind and warm mind.
A kind and warm
and
mind.
Compassionate mind. So it's the marriage of the heart and the mind. So there is not that constant conflict that sometimes we experience.
That is so important. Because if people had an intelligent heart and a warm and kind,
compassionate mind,
we would live in a very different world, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. Yes.
What is your dream for this world?
I think we have to start with our individual peacefulness. It's the greatest gift that we can give to the world. Because if we are peaceful, if we have a peaceful mind, a peaceful body, a peaceful heart, we can extend that to our family, to our co-workers, to anybody that we meet. And then they will extend it to their families, and it just grows. So it has to start at an individual level. And it's possible. And it's possible. That's the thing, that is possible. And it's not that difficult. It's not difficult. Life is very simple. And we tend to complicate things and to make them very complex. We are in a very difficult world, and we have to learn how to be happy and peaceful in the midst of difficulties, in the midst of turbulence. That's our real work here, from my perspective. That is the learning, that is our curriculum. to learn to be with difficulties, to hold them in a different way. And to treasure our happiness and our peacefulness, and not to allow anybody or any circumstance to take away our peacefulness, our harmony.
That is quite a gift for the world. Thank you for that gift. I've been the beneficiary of that during our friendship all these years, and I'm aware that you bring the gift of mindfulness and the intelligent heart and the kind and compassionate mind to women who work with addictions and in shelters. You've taught people in schools, the Worcester Public Schools, the Mass College of Pharmacy, the Council of Aging, the Head Start program. You've developed a training program for the Boston Public Health Commission for mindfulness-based relapse prevention program for women in addiction recovery. You've applied your gifts in so many different directions. You've worked with hospitals and groups of people who are facing serious illness. You've worked with business people, right?
Right.
You've worked with many, many different populations and trained professionals who aspire to teach mindfulness. So I'm really struck by the populations that you've worked with. And going back to your roots of Christianity, your political science studies, your interest in world, because you've traveled many, many places beyond Nepal. You've traveled what are some of the other places you've traveled?
Burma, Japan, Egypt, Russia, Greece, Ireland. Yes, I was in Ireland in February, teaching a group of human rights activists from all over the world. About 120 human rights activists congregate in Dublin every couple of years, every 2 years. And with the Garrison Institute, with a group of teachers from the Garrison Institute, we gave a workshop on how to work with vicarious trauma.
Can you define vicarious trauma for our viewers?
When you are a healthcare provider and you deal with difficulties and extreme pain at times on a regular basis, it's very easy to begin to change in a way that is not with compassion fatigue or with burnt out. You feel tired and you're maybe irritable. The vicarious trauma changes you as a person. It's not only that you're tired, that you're irritable, that the symptoms, but this vicarious trauma changes you fundamentally.
Does it make you a harder person?
It makes
harder
you
in the sense where you're
apathetic. You don't want to connect with the world. You always have this. Maybe if you see a father with a daughter, maybe you think that there is something going on.
So you're projecting?
You're projecting because you hear so much pain, and constantly. So this is a work by helping people, healthcare providers, to deal with trauma. The work that the Garrison Institute has been doing for many years. For the past 5 years, I've been part of the faculty in bringing women that work in shelters in New York City. And they come for the weekend only, from Friday until midday Sunday. And just to replenish, just to begin, have the time to connect with themselves, to pay attention to their minds, pay attention to their hearts, their emotions, to replenish, and then to take that to the institution and to the clients, to take the tools that will help them deal with the stress in their lives.
Now, do you find that most human rights activists or anyone who is working like the women in shelters know that they have vicarious trauma? Do they know it?
Most don't.
Oh.
No.
How do they find it?
Normally these are people that are motivated from their hearts are open. They are very compassionate. They're very giving. And it's hard to stop giving, and it's hard to take care of themselves. And not only people working in extreme situations, I think for most people that work in the healthcare professions, it's hard to take care of themselves. They're always giving, and hardly have time for themselves.
So it's about receiving.
It's about learning to receive, yes. It's
They're
about
good at giving but not receiving.
Receiving and also valuing self-care, because we think that is something that is nice to do, but that is not so important. And it is absolutely vital, because we cannot give what we don't have. So if I extend compassion to you, Virginia, I'm very compassionate and very loving, and all of a sudden you become very mean to me. And so if I haven't learned to be compassionate with myself and to truly love myself, I can be mean to you.
So
also.
it starts the
So
whole cycle.
It's not unconditional compassion. It's not unconditional love. I cannot offer you that if I haven't learned to love myself.
Yeah.
So I can also become mean and difficult.
So it restarts the cycle of violence again, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Instead of stopping it.
Right.
Isn't that a shame?
Yes.
So how do people start opening up to realizing that they have vicarious trauma?
Just by seeing how their lives are. If they used to enjoy friends, if they used to enjoy family, getting together with family, and they have no desire to do that. Even if they have the time, they have no desire. They don't want to connect, it's too much. If they go to work thinking, on survival mode, this is, just another day. No freshness, no joy in the heart. It's just another day, just surviving. Yes, in looking at life with a jaded view.
Interesting. So they sound like symptoms of post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, that you're describing. So people who are working with trauma, people who have been traumatized, will often get re-traumatized. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
So that whole cycle of re-traumatization is often not recognized in the caregivers. And it's so important that you have that ministry to help people who are caregivers through your work at UMass Medical School and Garrison Institute and in your private practice, to help people first just become aware, because that whole idea of detaching and becoming aware almost as observers for ourselves is so important, with the idea of kindness and compassion toward ourselves. It's been extraordinary to hear how you've applied this very strong practice that you have to help other people and to bring your... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Without awareness, Virginia, we cannot make different choices. If I don't see that something is here, to move it to another place, if I don't see it that is here, I cannot move it to another place.
Yes.
If I don't know that it's there, I cannot change it. I cannot do something different. Yes. So it's all about awareness, seeing clearly.
So I find that in my practice as a therapist, that people need to be open to find that awareness. Is that true? Do you find that too, or do you find you can invite people to be open to that?
Open and open to the resistance. If there is resistance there, being curious about the resistance.
Yeah. So it takes someone who's ready to do this work, right? But maybe some people hearing this program would be encouraged to try mindfulness from hearing that about the possibilities for healing people who've had been re-traumatized from their work, or because I see it so much in the city how it's so easy to become hard when you're burned out and you're overworking. Sometimes people have jobs that keep them working way too many hours, and to have balance. Because even though you didn't use that word balance, I heard that was very important to you. Balance, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Balance is the key, and we cannot have perfect balance. We have to go out of balance to come back. It's always about coming back to our balance. We cannot be perfectly balanced. It's impossible. But one place we are very fortunate in Worcester, because we have the Center for Mindfulness. I would be delighted to give the telephone number if that is allowed, because the classes...
And the website too.
Oh, absolutely. Their classes... 5, 6 classes every cycle. There are 4 cycles a year. So people come from New York, from Rhode Island, from Maine, from all over the world to train here. So we're very, very, very fortunate to have the Center for Mindfulness in Worcester. The telephone number is 508-856-2656. And the website is www.umassmed.edu/CFM.
CFM, Center for Mindfulness?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, your amazing background in both the mind, developing the mind through your political science expertise, and your interest in the global, and your travel, and now your application here in Worcester through UMass Medical School's Center for Mindfulness has been an extraordinary gift for our viewers. Thank you, Zayda, for teaching us how you bring peace to the world, first in yourself with your own practice, and then how you extend your heart and your mind, the intelligent heart and the kind and loving mind. I love the words of integration that you've used to many, many areas through the work you've done. Thank you so much for coming, Zayda Vallejo, and for your joining us today and teaching us about how we could use that awareness first, and be kind and loving toward ourselves as a way to prevent re-traumatization and to heal re-traumatization. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's been great fun. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
This is Virginia Swain from Imagine Worcester in the World.
You promised me the world. Is this what you had in mind?
Every choice we make has a consequence. Help EarthShare and its members restore balance to the world. Visit earthshare.org and see what you can do. EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it.